taking on loans or debts has some negativity attached to it. As spoken in a previous video though, debt can actually be good for us financially and it'll help us leverage our assets better. If we use it wrongly, it can destroy us financially. But when used correctly, leverage can actually be one of the greatest tools for our financial wealth. Ironic, right? Like Robert Kiyosaki said in a Facebook post in 2011, good debt is a powerful tool, but bad debt can kill you. So when you go into personal finance Reddits or FIRE Reddits, you always see that a financial goal that many people have in common is that they want to clear off all their debt as soon as possible. It's a very good goal to have, of course, but in today's video, I'll be going through certain scenarios where we shouldn't be in too much of a rush to pay off our debt. So let's get started. Cha-ching! The first one I'll be talking about is if you have a personal or car loan like the one I'll be taking when I buy my Lamborghini. While I generally advise against taking personal loans at all, I acknowledge that some people may not have any choice at all, so this is what you should do with them. So the thing about both car and personal loans are that usually they're fixed interest loans. You can have a variable interest one or reducing balance ones, but most people in Malaysia do take the fixed loan option. In a nutshell, what this means is that when you first take out the loan, the amount that you'll be charged in interest is already set up front. Let's say you borrow 100,000 ringgit for 5 years and the bank charges you 5% interest per year. So that's about 5,000 ringgit a year in interest or 25,000 ringgit over the entire loan period. You'll have a monthly installment amount to pay, so let's say that's 500 ringgit. So the thing about these loans is that whether you pay the set amount monthly or any more than that, the amount that you'll pay in interest will be the same regardless. This means that, let's say going back to that 100,000 loan that I took, even if I want to pay it off after 6 months, I will still have to pay the entire 25,000 ringgit in interest that I signed up for. So knowing this, why would we want to pay the bank the 25,000 ringgit in interest and give it back to them early as well? It's like going into an Apple store, ordering an iPhone 13 Pro Max, and then leaving with an iPhone 6. If you use that cash to invest your money instead of paying off that loan quicker, you'd be much better off. Of course, there are exceptions to this. I have heard that people were offered discounts if they were to pay the lump sum amount, but this one you gotta check with your bank. I've never experienced it personally, and unless this is the case, I would just stick to paying the set amount monthly and not 1 cent more. So the second loan that we shouldn't be in a rush paying off is an education loan, or more specifically, PT/PTN. I believe that this should only apply for Malaysians because of the favorable interest rates we get from this initiative. Now I know some people think that why even pay PT/PTN at all? I'm completely against that. I feel that we should pay as soon as we can because if we don't, it will impact future generations. However, I also think that we shouldn't be in a rush to clear off this loan entirely, and the reason for that is pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. Most of you may know, but this loan has an interest rate of just 1%. That's below the base rate of all banks in Malaysia, and I don't think anyone in this country, even the richest of the richest, can ever get a rate this low. It's a really good initiative by the Malaysian government because it enables many Malaysians to study without having to worry about sky-high costs, unlike in the US where students have to take on loans by corporates and they get charged very high interest rates and get stuck with it for many years. Because the interest rate is so low at only 1%, the cost of borrowing this money is extremely cheap, and for that reason, we should not be rushing to pay it off early. Just let it go for the next 15-30 years, whatever your repayment schedule is. So, be responsible, pay off your PT/PTN loans, but don't be in a rush to pay it off lump sum. Again, there is an exception to this if the government brings back the discount for lump sum payments, but until then, I'll just be paying it off at a set rate monthly. Next up, we have anyone who is taking ASB financing. So again, this one is pretty straightforward, but I still do get some questions from friends and stuff asking me should they pay it off early or should they take a shorter loan tenure than the recommended 30 years. So first of all, we need to remember why we took this loan in the first place. We're taking this loan so that we can get leverage on this investment, which is essentially a gift from our government. Since the entire purpose of this loan was to leverage our investment in Amanah Saham and improve our ROI, it doesn't make sense to be in a rush and pay this loan off early. This one is one of those ones that has literally no exceptions for me. If you're going to do ASB financing, take the 30-year option and don't pay any more than you have to every single month. If you decide to do otherwise, it really defeats the purpose of taking on this product. And even if one day our interest rates go so high that ASB returns cannot match it, I would just terminate this loan instead of trying to pay it off early. Finally, I'm just gonna wrap all of this up with a generic one, being any loan with low-ish interest rates. At its core, taking a loan means getting an injection of cash, whether to buy something or to invest your money, and paying a small fee for it. If the fee that you pay is lower than what you can earn on your cash, then it is always a positive move to make. An example of this is a housing loan, which currently can be below 3% interest rates looking at Ringgit Plus. So let's say you have a mortgage on your house, you have to pay it off monthly, and this year, because you did exceptionally well, your company has given you a bonus of 50,000 ringgit. You have no other use for this cash. Should you use this money to pay off your home loan earlier? Unlike car and personal loans like I was talking about earlier, housing loans are usually reducing balance loans, meaning if you pay it off early, you will actually pay less in interest to the bank. However, one thing that I need to clear up is that many people seem to have that misconception that paying money to the bank is a bad thing. Well, it can feel like a bad thing, but if I'm paying the bank a certain amount to use their money and make more from it, then it's a good thing, right? So let's say, going back to the example again, you have the 50,000 ringgit and suddenly you have an opportunity to invest your money and get a higher return. Whether it's investing in stocks, investing in a business, your own business, or even amanah saham, then why would you pay off that house loan early? Let's say instead of using that 50,000 ringgit to pay off the bank loan and save 3% on interest, you use it to put it in amanah saham instead and get 6% on your money. The key here is to be honest with yourself, of course. Don't hold off paying a very high interest rate loan just because you think that you're very good at trading Bitcoin or GME, because you don't want to be that guy who goes onto Wall Street bets and posts your loss porn. So having said all of that, me telling you guys certain scenarios that we shouldn't be paying off our loans early, just pay the set amount monthly, what are the situations that we should be paying off our loans as quick as we can? The first one is a pretty simple one. It's if you have very high interest rates on your loans. An example of this is credit cards. These ones you should get it out of the way as soon as possible because these can really snowball and kill our finances. With interest rates on these cards ranging from 15 all the way up to 18 and even 20%, there are not many reliable ways that we can earn more money than this than just paying off those loans. Yes, rich people do use debt to get rich and they do use credit cards. But what they don't do is pay interest on your credit cards month after month. So this is something that we should avoid as best as we can. The second reason that we should be paying off loans early is more of a personal choice. And that is, it gives you peace of mind. Having the feeling of fully owning your house or your car and not having to pay a monthly payment can reduce the stress levels of many people. And I completely understand that. Could you have utilized money better if you invested that money instead of paying off that loan early? Yes, but peace of mind is something that is priceless and no amount of money can replace it. So this one is really an individual preference thing. For me at this age, I don't really mind having some debt here and there because at the end of the day, my goal is to reach financial freedom as soon as I can, and utilizing debt is one way for me to get there. To really be financially free, I would of course have to one day pay off all my loans. But during this wealth building process, I'm leveraging debt to get there quicker, and I'm in no rush to pay off my loans quickly because most of them are very low interest rates. So to sum it all up again, debt can be a very powerful tool when we use it correctly. A rational decision would be to always maximize this tool to really make your money work hard for you. But we can't ignore the fact that we are all human beings after all, and sometimes we may make decisions that are irrational. So the key is, as always, to find the right balance, and I'm just here to share the knowledge so that all of you guys can use this to make your own decisions. Thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. I really hope you guys learned a lot and enjoyed it. If you did, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.